Let's go over the best equipment and skills to use in Chapter 10 and then walk through the entire chapter and take a look at every enemy. Before we begin, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The best equipment to use in Chapter 10 may be your best equipment. Your equipment with the highest grade, highest base stat, and most skills unlocked. Any type of S grade equipment you have is certainly usable. There are also many tier lists on this channel, including one where I ranked and discussed every piece of gear in the game. So check that out if you need a more in-depth look. I'll link it in the description of this video. Chapter 10 is a vertical level, and there are several ways to approach a vertical level. If you plan to remain stationary or not primarily run in a straight line in one direction, you may want to consider using a melee weapon like the Light Chaser, Katana, or Bat. If you plan to run around a lot, perhaps dominantly in one direction, and don't have trouble defeating mobs of enemies, then the Kunai and Shotgun both work really well. The Kunai will automatically target enemies across the map, allowing you to remain safe and run in one direction. And the Shotgun Spray can potentially fill an entire lane, killing or damaging monsters in its path. In addition, the Gatling is a great choice when it comes to taking down hordes of monsters, but you may need to manually move it from side to side. I've completed Chapter 10 on several accounts, and the account featured in this video today will be using a blue kunai for its first attempt, although that account also has an excellent revolver. Revolver is kind of hard to use. An excellent grade trendy charm can reduce cooldown up to 10%, and an excellent grade metal neck guard can increase the effect of the first passive skill chosen when you start the chapter. These are the two necklaces that most players prefer outside the S grade Eternal necklace. Reducing the cooldown of your weapons and skills will enable you to defeat more monsters faster. In this walkthrough, I'm using the Emerald Pendant. If you top up in the game, you can get a free excellent grade Emerald Pendant that generates a radiation ring around your hero. Excellent grade shiny wrist guards cause a minor explosion when monsters die, which can neutralize groups of enemies. These gloves are great at obtaining extra kills. And excellent grade fingerless gloves are also a great choice, as they can instantly kill non-boss monsters, including elites. They may not sound like much, but I like them, and they can be useful in defeating tough elites. The Eternal Suit and Full Metal Suit can both revive your hero when they reach an excellent grade, and an excellent grade Protective Suit will release a radiation pulse when your hero is hit. An excellent grade Eternal Belt is a great choice. It will trigger invincibility for 2 seconds once every minute when you receive damage. And an excellent grade Stylish Belt is another great choice that will give your hero a shield that blocks damage one time every time you kill 200 monsters. Excellent Light Runners can reduce the damage you receive by 20% for 3 seconds after receiving damage, which can help keep you alive longer if you struggle while getting swarmed by high HP monsters. These are just some recommendations for equipment to use, but it's understandable if you don't have much purple gear to use. In that case, just equip your highest grade gear in each position and use these skills. When approaching a vertical level, you may want to utilize close combat skills and skills that deal melee type damage, including the Guardian and Force Field, or go another route and use skills like the Drill Shot and RPG to defeat monsters in the distance before they reach you. The Drill Shot and Whistling Arrow can quickly defeat multiple targets in the distance, and the Whistling Arrow is an excellent Evo skill against bosses and elites. In addition, the Ammo Thruster passive skill used to Evo the Drill Shot increases bullet flight speed, which is really helpful in this chapter. The Soccer Ball and Quantum Ball can deal massive amounts of damage and work well in just about every scenario. The passive skill used to Evo the Soccer Ball, Sports Shoes, increases movement speed, which can help players who want to run as fast as they can in a single direction. The Lightning Emitter and Supercell can deal insane amounts of damage to enemies and bosses. This skill is a great boss killer, and if you are having trouble dealing with bosses like the Director, you may want to look into using the Lightning Emitter and evolving it into the Supercell. The Laser Launcher will remove negative effects from the ground as well as cause damage to the enemy. In addition, if you are lucky enough yet to have an excellent grade Annihilator tech part, you can slow enemies when they are hit with the laser. If you plan to use the Lightning Emitter, you may also want to consider looking for the Laser Launcher due to their compatibility. They both share the passive skill that reduces all attack cooldown, and using them both will leave an additional passive slot open. However, the Laser Launcher and Death Ray are not very helpful if you plan to run. The Molotov and Fuel Barrel work much better. The Molotov is a great choice to remove negative effects and cause damage to enemies around you, but the associated passive skill, the Oil Bond, increases gold gain as opposed to buffing your hero. Often, when running in one direction in a vertical level, the Molotov will deal the most damage due to the delay and overtime effect effect which causes it to kill enemies that spawn behind you, and potentially off screen. The RPG is a sleeper when it comes to vertical levels. It, alongside the Molotov, usually deal the most damage if you plan to run in a single direction to farm kills. The RPG really shines at defeating enemies behind your hero while running in a straight line. The force field causes damage and pushes the enemy back. It can keep groups of monsters with high HP away from your hero, including zombie hogs and slugs that appear multiple times in this chapter. In addition, if you are prone to take damage, the energy drink passive skill used to evo the force field can restore a percentage of HP every 5 seconds. The Guardian and Defender will cause damage and knock the enemy back. It works great alongside the force field or in place of the force field. The overtime effect duration passive skill compatible with the Guardian will also cause you to potentially hit more targets off screen. Let's go, here's chapter 10. I'll show you how I beat it and which enemies you will face. For the first 1 minute and 30 seconds, we take on bats and hatchet throwing zombies. So I'm going to go with the drill shot and lightning emitter to take down enemies in the distance, so I can keep moving and looting. Skills like the Guardian can potentially deflect hatchets thrown by the zombies if they are problematic. It is also advisable to upgrade your weapon as fast as possible. Also, if you're using a shotgun, a 2-star shotgun can potentially hit every target in one direction. Cats will begin to show up after 1 minute and 30 seconds, followed by slugs and an elite at the 2-minute mark. If these monsters swarm you and have too much HP, you may want to run away from them, killing as much as you can. Once the elite dies, I will typically save a chest it drops for when a skill has 5 stars, and I have the compatible passive skill used to evolve it, because when you open a chest, it will automatically give you the evolved version of that skill. But my account isn't too strong and I needed more firepower, so I came back to it around the 4-minute mark in hopes to upgrade multiple skills, and luck was in my favor. At 4 minutes, slugs will try to swarm you from both sides, so what I'm doing here is essentially trying to push in one direction by fighting one side, while skills like the drill shot, soccer ball, and lightning emitter take on the other side behind me. And then I found a bomb around 4:39 and decided to wait around it until the boss at the 5-minute mark. Bombs can deal a high amount of damage to bosses, so use them wisely if you find them. In this example, the spit bloom is quite easy to take down, so using the bomb wasn't really necessary. Once the boss at 5 minutes is defeated, zombie hogs with high HP will approach from both sides. Around 6:30, they'll be joined by hatchet throwing zombies, and this is a great time to loot and level up skills. Hogs will drop blue and gold loot, which is very helpful for leveling up. At 7 minutes, bats will appear, and they drop green loot, so it may not be as easy to loot from them. However, it is a good time to find things like food, bombs, and magnets. Around 8 minutes into the chapter, I have 2 evolved skills, the Spirit Shuriken and the Whistling Arrow. They are dealing the most damage alongside a 5-star soccer ball with an excellent grade quantum polarizer. I was lucky enough to get this tech part, and it's the only tech part I have. Cats will appear from both sides, followed by a few zombies with hatchets, and then an elite at 9 minutes shows up with bats. In this example, I'm able to remain stationary and defeat this elite with ranged skills, but it's not always going to be this easy. At the 10-minute mark is a boss, and here is the Stinger Queen who will charge at you, and if you're not paying attention, will kill you, just like that. This boss will also launch pink balls at you, so it's advisable to remain alert and try to run around it, avoiding its attacks. Once the boss is defeated, hogs with high HP appear once again. These guys are strong, and I really don't want to get stuck in the middle of them, so I really like to attack one side at a time. At 11 minutes, an elite will show up, so keep your eyes open. It can often be hard to fight elites between 2 sides of high HP monsters. In this case, I let the elite chase me until he eventually died. The hogs are on full strike here, and this is where close combat skills like the force field and Guardian really help. At 12 minutes, another elite alongside slugs and bats will appear, and at this point in the chapter, things will start to get very hectic, so I suggest finding items like bombs, because at 13 minutes, more slugs, bats, and another elite will appear. At this point in the chapter, keep killing, don't give up, loot as much as you can, and level up your skills. As always, I like to take on one side at a time, so there is less of a chance to get overwhelmed. Passive skills like the ammo thruster, energy cube, and high power bullet can help at defeating enemies quicker when surrounded by them. At 14 minutes, cats will appear, and you have 1 minute left to survive. At 15 minutes is the final boss, the director, and he will toss phones at you that spin and fly back like a boomerang. A lot of people have trouble with this boss, but he's easier than you may think. The phones he throws are fairly easy to avoid by barely moving. Just move out of their way, one by one, instead of trying to run from them. Bosses like this are pretty good at hitting moving targets. Thank you so much for watching this chapter 10 walkthrough. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Smash like, subscribe, and have a great day.